How's it going, everybody? Storm Team 4 Chief Meteorologist Brian Niznansky. I'm going to let a few more people join this stream. We got lots to talk about, obviously. My hair's a mess. It is Sunday, March 15th. The time is roughly 11:39, 11:40-ish. Again, let me get a couple more people to join this stream, and we're going to get going. Obviously, we have a ton to talk about today. We have an extremely powerful area of low pressure, and I'm not a hype machine. Actually, I try to be the opposite. I hate when every storm is the worst storm. Every winter storm is the worst we've ever seen in some sort of way, or hurricane. Like, I hate that type of chatter. But this area of low pressure that the state is dealing with today could end up being historic. Maybe not for accumulating snow reasons for us in southeastern Wisconsin, but for northern Wisconsin, northeastern Wisconsin, in particular, Green Bay and north, we could see snow amounts that could break records for the state. I mean, we're talking about maybe measuring in feet, maybe even more than 3 feet in some spots, which would be crazy. The models are outputting crazy amounts of snow in northeastern Wisconsin. So it looks like we got over 500 people on, so this is great. So what I hope to do here is have a lengthy discussion as far as breaking down what we have. My hope is we have enough time to answer questions, but since we have so much going on already, I'm going to just kind of plow through a lot of the current scenario and then look ahead into tonight. In general, I'll say in southeastern Wisconsin, we are dealing with rain and thunderstorms for most of the day today, but it looks like things will head downhill dramatically as we head into tonight. So, all right, welcome everybody. Again, whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on my YouTube page, whether you're on the TMJ4 Facebook or my Brian Niznansky Facebook page, welcome. Please involve yourself in the discussion. Let me know what's going on by you, any questions that you may have. So here's a look at the current picture. Here in southeastern Wisconsin, we've had just rain, some good downpours, some thunder, some lightning. That's a really heavy burst of rain, maybe even some sleet and hail mixing in, moving through Walworth County. Notice the lightning bolts across northeastern Wisconsin. Yeah, thunder, snow, and thunder ice with this. One thing that I'm looking at in particular with this map that I'm intrigued by is that rain ice snow line. I would say in general, we are already seeing a progression southeast. So what that means to me, if that trend continues, we got to beef our totals back up for like Beaver Dam and Fond du Lac because this changeover is happening a little bit sooner. And that would mean, again, that would mean the overall totals up there will be going up. Same for out towards Madison. So we backed off on our totals the last couple of days from our initial forecast, but I would say for our northwestern spots, we got to start considering beefing them back up. Here's the bigger picture. We're just getting going with this. As the area of low pressure intensifies, what we're going to start to notice is snow on the backside of this system really fill in late tonight and into tomorrow morning. And that will by far bring us our worst conditions here in southeastern Wisconsin late tonight and tomorrow morning. You may be thinking with that timing, Monday morning, going to work, school. I think we could have blizzard conditions here in southeastern Wisconsin during the morning commute tomorrow. So schools are going to have a tough decision. I don't make the decision. Weather Service doesn't make the decision, but I know schools get their guidance from meteorologists and in particular the Weather Service. A lot of times they cut and dry. If there's a winter storm warning, they'll cancel. And our northwestern spots have a winter storm warning. But I know Milwaukee, Racine, Kenosha, others, winter weather advisory. But what I think is I think tomorrow morning, if things ramp up the way it looks like it could, we could see an upgrade for those counties. Maybe not necessarily for snow amounts. Like Milwaukee still may end up with only 5 inches of snow, but it could be really windy and coming down heavy during that morning commute. So big picture, this is looking like a mainly snow event for Green Bay. So while it was looking like maybe Green Bay gets in on the mix and icing and, the total's down there, oh, man, I could see Green Bay getting more than 2 feet of snow, honestly. I could see Madison getting over a foot of snow now, the way things are kind of trending. All right, so let's get to it. This is kind of obviously some of the most important stuff that we have to look at here, the latest computer model trends. So this is the HRRR, and the HRRR is going to, you see how the HRRR kind of lines up exactly with what we have right now, that mix going through Fond du Lac. And notice for like folks in Green Bay, we're not seeing any mixing up by you. Now there could be a little bit of a break in intensity during the early night hours, but watch how things pick up again tomorrow morning. So you see that? And that's accompanied with really, really strong winds. So tomorrow, early morning, maybe the intensity drops enough in the snow for the morning commute. That would help enough, according to this HRRR computer model run. And then still some lingering light snow throughout the day on Monday, coming to an end Monday evening. So that's the HRRR. Let's go to the graph. This is our in-house computer model. And again, keep firing away questions, comments, and I'll try to get to a lot of those here in a bit. But what I hope is I'm able to, with this discussion, answer most of those questions because we just got so much to get through. Okay, so the graph initializes well also. Rain, storms through the afternoon in Milwaukee, staying just wet. I mean, if you have travel plans now in southeastern Wisconsin, we're just wet, except for up towards Fond du Lac and Sheboygan. The graph also showing kind of a lull this evening before filling back in tomorrow early morning. Again, there is, especially early morning, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock tomorrow morning looks brutal. Heavy snow and very windy conditions. Starting to improve maybe by 8, 9 o'clock according to this graph run, but then lingering light snow again into the afternoon. So the graph and HRRR are pretty similar. What I want to do is I want to look at the HRRR at a little closer level here in southeastern Wisconsin. Whoops, sorry, my computer just went all over the place. Let me reframe this back up. I want to make sure everybody's got a good view of what I'm showing. Oh, actually, I'm not even, there we go. I realized I was probably on camera most of the time, so I apologize for that. But let's go to the graph here. So now that I know that I'm up, my apologies. Now that I know that I have the graphics up, my bad. Let's do a quick refresh since a lot of you probably didn't see that. So here again, current scenario. Notice that rain snow line going through Fond du Lac, Beaver Dam, Sheboygan. Things are already kind of heading downhill there. All rain in southeastern Wisconsin in the metro Milwaukee area. Pretty good bursts of rain moving along 43. There could be some bright banding with that, meaning like it picking up wet snowflakes, but probably a good downpour there moving out of Walworth County. Bigger picture, man, there was thunder snow up towards Green Bay, even Sheboygan, maybe some thunder ice. Again, notice that break that's back into western Wisconsin. The models are picking up on that. So maybe we get a nice little lull this evening. Let me show you the HRRR. Let me show you the graph. I really like the graph. The graph is performing very well right now. Let me make sure everything is lined up. That's how I want to show it. Perfect. All right, so let's go back to the graph here and notice that rain snow line kind of hugs our northwestern spots. And as I mentioned before, again, look at Green Bay staying all snow today. And then even mixing as far south as Fond du Lac and Sheboygan, we might have to bump our totals up again for Fond du Lac over towards Beaver Dam. Then a little bit of a lull. That's good. If you have travel plans this evening, maybe we get a little lull here. You can see that filling in. But then look at the early morning tomorrow. That is when by far we have our worst conditions in Metro Milwaukee, in southeastern Wisconsin, by far. If this pans out, this is near blizzard conditions. Why am I saying blizzard? Because while it's going to be heavy snowing, we're also going to have really strong winds with this. Let's talk winds for a second here. So right now the winds aren't terrible. Yeah, we're getting some gusts at times, but nothing crazy, 25, 30 miles an hour. Watch the wind pick up tonight on the backside of this area of low pressure. So now we're 7:30. We're starting to get some 40-mile-per-hour gusts, some 50-mile-per-hour gusts this evening at 10 o'clock, 55, 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. Okay, so let's rewind this. Let's go to 6:30. You're wanting to get the kids to school. Well, maybe not quite yet, but you're waking up. Let's go just for a school point. Here's 7:19, okay? That's usually when I'm getting my kids out the door or trying to or thinking about it. Look at the wind. And if we have heavy snow at the same time as 50, 55-mile-per-hour wind gusts, we're going to have a big problem on our hands tomorrow morning. By far, the worst conditions by far look to be late tonight and tomorrow morning. I mean, we might achieve, we'll see what the Weather Service does, but if this all looks to pan out, I could see even upgrades for everybody to blizzard warnings in southeastern Wisconsin. I could see it. Not saying it's going to happen, but I see that threshold getting achieved. What makes it a technical blizzard? That is a great question. A technical blizzard is a combination of snow or blowing snow that reduces visibility less than a quarter of a mile, and also winds frequently gusting over 35 miles per hour. I think we achieved that with 55-mile-per-hour winds. So let's take a look at snow amounts. This is where things get tricky. Let's run the HRRR here. Let's run the HRRR computer model, and we'll take a look at how much snow the HRRR model is outputting. See how things ramp up tomorrow morning. I actually really like this HRRR run. This HRRR run is very close to what I think our forecast map looks like. Might be a little aggressive for Madison, but, 4 to 8 inches Metro Milwaukee. Ignore that Port Washington number. That's the model's picking up the lake there, and I think you're going to end up more than an inch in Port Washington. But northwest of Milwaukee, we could start to see those totals really going up. Let's take a look at the graph snow totals. The graph, I think, brings in more accumulation into southeastern Wisconsin. So while the HRRR did 4, look at the graph, more on the high end of our scale, 8 inches or so. And that heavier stuff working farther south even more. West Bend, Waukesha. Now, keep in mind, these are computer model runs. So please know that that's an individual model run. That's not our official forecast here when we throw our human touch on it. This is what we're thinking. Man, I might even need to make another zone up towards Green Bay. I think there's going to be a lot of people who are more than 2 feet of snow. But here's us. This is kind of blending the HRRR and the graph, looking at a few other things. I still think Metro Milwaukee, especially northwest side of town, 4 to 8. Right in Milwaukee, more around 4. We're seeing Kenosha 2 to 4. We might have to bump. I mean, see, I hate changes, right? So earlier we had all Milwaukee in the 4 to 8. Then yesterday we had to tweak a little bit, pushing the higher totals northwest. And now I feel like we might have to bring them back a little bit, given some of these latest model runs. But this is the latest Storm Team 4 forecast map. But in general, the bulk of this snow accumulation occurs late tonight into tomorrow morning. Let's look at the monster totals for the state. The HER. Watch the HER here. This is where historic comes into play, right? This is additional snow on top of what has already fallen. So whatever you have on the ground in Green Bay, the HER model run thinks you're going to get 20 more inches. Get my clicker going here. Let's look at the European computer model run. Whatever you have on the ground, the European also thinks 20 more inches of snow in Green Bay. This could be absolutely historic. For us, I mean, look at the HER and the graph. Like, the HER and the European model. Very similar Milwaukee. 4 inches or so. Same thing with the European model. Now, if you're northwest, if you're out towards like Menominee Falls, maybe you end up more like 8 inches of snow. Let's do the GFS just for good measure here. Oh my goodness, look at the GFS. I think it's a little high, obviously, for Madison, but the GFS has 26 inches in Green Bay. Again, Milwaukee kind of in that 4-inch range. So maybe I will hold tight with 4 inches in Milwaukee. So we're right on the edge of that, like 4 inches right downtown. And then northwest side starts to get into that 4 to 8. And then down towards Racine and Kenosha, 2 to 4. Maybe we hold steady on that map. Temperature is obviously a huge role here. Temperature is playing a big, big part of what we got going on. We're above freezing in Milwaukee. Freezing or below Fond du Lac and Sheboygan. So icing, definitely a concern. Snow, definitely ramping up the amounts. Because this is probably like the warm as we get, right? This is our warmth for the day. State, Green Bay's at 29. All snow. Okay, here in southeastern Wisconsin, as of right now, we have winter weather advisories that go until 7 a.m. for the core of the area, including Milwaukee, Ozaukee, Waukesha counties. Winter storm warnings northwest. If you are northwest and you have kids in school, I would get a plan going right now of the possibility of no school. I would even say here in Milwaukee, even though we have a winter weather advisory now, if what I'm seeing pans out tomorrow morning, I could see an upgrade to a blizzard warning. Not necessarily for the amount of snow, but for the conditions that we're going to have for about 4 or 5 hours during the morning commute. Heavy snow and very strong winds. Speaking of blizzard warnings extend across the northern half of the state, pretty much all of Iowa, northwestern Illinois. Right now, the Weather Service is kind of holding off on southern Wisconsin, but I could see those conditions happening. I think they're just waiting to see what goes on here. So let me run the model run again that I think is most beneficial for us in southeastern Wisconsin. Let's run the graph. All rain through the day to start. Let me get this over here. Sorry, my zoom in features are going nuts a little bit here. As I get this lined up. All right, so all rain through the day. Maybe a little lull this evening. That would be cool. I would like that. And then overnight, things really filling in into tomorrow morning. It hits the fan. And we have, very, very tricky travel tomorrow morning, even in Milwaukee. And then the snow tapers off in the afternoon. All right. Well, covered a lot. We got a lot of people on the stream. I assume I have a lot of questions, comments coming in. Hopefully I addressed it. And I know a lot of the comments initially are going to be about the screen not showing up initially, so I apologize for that. That was my bad, but hopefully we were able to still get through it. Bad hair day, yep. Will schools be canceled? Jada wants to know in Milwaukee. Typical weatherman, 50-50. I think it's not the amount of snow tomorrow morning in Milwaukee. It's the timing and it's the wind combination that I think you do need to at least plan on the possibility. What are the models? Jam wants to know models for Waukesha. I think Waukesha, most of the models were in like that 8-inch range. There are some that go as high as 12. Freezing rain, Nancy says in Sheboygan. Good to know. I'm seeing that on the radar. It doesn't look good. Rebecca, be a little more specific with Lake Geneva. Are you looking for timing? Are you looking for amounts? Same thing for Monica. What about Grafton? Again, try to be more specific. Grafton amounts, I think maybe we get up to 8 inches. Lake Geneva, I think maybe 5-6 inches of snow. Thunder sleet in Sheboygan County. Hartford question mark. Again, guys, be more specific than just where you live. But hopefully I was able to get to that when you saw the map. So it looks like a lot of these questions are coming in. Yeah, I know I wasn't sharing the screen. Now I am. But let's get to this model again. Well, actually, I think you guys want to see the totals again. So let me get the totals back up. And we'll go through that again. Now, I'm going to show you multiple computer models for southeastern Wisconsin. And then I'll show you our map. And our map is kind of a blend of these two. So here's the HER, 4 or 5 inches Milwaukee, but going up as you get out to Waukesha, Menominee Falls, West Bend. Most of this falling tomorrow, early morning. Graph is higher. Graph goes as high as 8 in Milwaukee, as high as 11 in Waukesha, as high as 18 in Fond du Lac. Kind of leaning towards the heavier solution, but not all the way to this. So with that said, so now again, if you're asking a question of your town specific, find yourself on a map here. Monster totals up north. Here you go. Here's your map. Pick out your town or one close to it. Still think around Milwaukee's right on the fringe there. So that's why Milwaukee, we're holding pretty firm on like a 4-inch number. But I could see if I was going to make an adjustment, bumping that 4 to 8 inches a little bit more into Milwaukee, maybe even Western, Racine, and Kenosha counties. So there's your map. Hopefully that answered any questions as far as what your town could get. I'm glad. There. I'm glad. Yeah, I know a lot of people earlier. Near whiteout conditions, no graph. Okay, I got it. Cool. Simone wants to know, might be too far ahead to ask, but when is this all over and how do you think this will take to melt in Milwaukee? We got colder temperatures, so you're going to have to shovel whatever you get. I think this event starts to wrap up tomorrow afternoon with accumulating snow, but a lot of blowing and drifting of snow. How do you think travel will be Monday, 4:30 to 5 a.m. from Northwest Milwaukee to Oconomowoc? Terrible. Absolutely terrible, Mary. That's what I think. If you don't have to, don't do it, I think, at that time frame. Just rain in West Bend so far. Sheboygan in the house. Will this rain and ice be added to the total snow accumulations for Milwaukee? No, rain Rain and sleet will get added to anything frozen of accumulation, but not the rain. Watertown seems always back and forth. This is awful predicted total. Thanks, Gail. Well, Gail, what you do is you find yourself right on the edge of something. So all we can do is be real with you. My hope is that you don't attribute what you see on your app to our forecast that you saw earlier this week, probably outputting like 50 inches for you. But you're on the edge, and I don't think you fluctuated that much. You might be fluctuating between like the 8 and 12, the 4 to 8, but I see what you mean. But you're right on the edge of this. So I would plan on Watertown as of right now, probably 10 inches at least. That's all we got. All right. How much will Milwaukee get? Grafton. Again, guys, don't just say a town. Like, ask something specific, like a timing for the town, how much. Jeremiah says, looks like you might have to bump up Fond du Lac and Dodge County forecast, though. Yeah, I'm thinking about it. Dawn, let's see here. Yeah, Michelle finds this fascinating. I do too. Pamela, thank you. I appreciate it. Very detailed. Thank you. Yep. Thank you, guys. I appreciate all that. Yeah, a lot of stuff, a lot of questions coming in. Driving to the Dells today and back tomorrow, yay or nay? No. Maybe this evening you get a lull and you could go. I like that. If you can wait at least till late this afternoon and evening, you get kind of a lull. Tomorrow is going to be rough coming home, especially early, maybe in the evening tomorrow. So maybe the evening travel. If you do that trip tonight, and then tomorrow evening. Yeah, a lot of freezing rain reports coming in from Sheboygan. Freezing rain. Franklin, how much? I think Franklin, you're probably 4 or 5 inches. We'll see how this plays out. It's going to be a sharp cutoff. When does the snow start in Waukesha County? So we had our amounts. A lot of this is the timing. Let's go again. Should Tuesday a.m., 6 a.m. commute be clear? Yeah, Tuesday morning, I don't think perfect, but Debbie Lazica, hey, traffic on 620. How are we fixed for ice under all this snow for the commutes? That's also a potential because temperatures, that's a great point, Deb. Thank you. Another thing that's going to make tomorrow morning really difficult is a lot of the wet pavement will be freezing up tonight because by tomorrow morning, temperatures are going to be in the 20s. Great. All right, cool. So a lot of other questions, comments. People who are joining now, I want to give a little bit more content. But hopefully I've been able to answer in the general discussion what we have going on a little bit more. But let's go back to the maps. I know here's our snow map again. Pick out your town. And then let's do the graph computer model. I think the graph, and I'll put this state view so this helps everybody if you happen to be watching from outside of southeastern Wisconsin. This is the timing. So rain all afternoon, early evening, in most of southeastern Wisconsin. However, notice Fond du Lac and Sheboygan seeing the ice, even into Dodge County. The warmth didn't quite get up to you guys, so we might have to beef up the totals there. I'd love to know how much you have on the ground already up in Fond du Lac, if anybody has that number. Then look at kind of a break this evening. 9, 10 o'clock, kind of a break. If you're looking for when we're going to get accumulating snow in metro Milwaukee, most of southeastern Wisconsin, it's not going to come until later tonight. After midnight, that's when things ramp up. Into tomorrow morning is by far our worst conditions. This is just showing the snow, but at this time at 8:30, we are seeing winds at 55 miles an hour potential, along with a frozen ground with temperatures now well below freezing and heavy snow, blizzard conditions possible tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning looks like it's going to suck. Honestly, I hate to say it. That's just what it is. Tomorrow morning, by far, looks like our worst conditions in southeastern Wisconsin. This, for us, while it could be a historic snow in northeastern Wisconsin, for us, it's not going to be about the amount of snow. It's going to be about the timing and the combination of wind and snow at the time. So tomorrow morning, blizzard conditions. I could see, as we look at the state, even though our totals won't be as impressive, obviously, as northern Wisconsin, which, by the way, is going to be a historic snow for the state, likely, I could see some counties getting added to this blizzard warning, including some of ours in southeastern Wisconsin, given what could unfold late tonight into tomorrow morning. Okay, everybody, I really appreciate it. Hang in there. Tomorrow morning, parents have a plan in case schools get canceled. I think it's a possibility. If you're watching on the TMJ4 Facebook page, head over to my page, Brian Niznansky. Give me a follow there as well. I'm also live streaming on YouTube at the same time. Brian Niz, search for that on YouTube. Thank you, everybody.